this is really important that you need to make it personal. We have 200,000 plus agents that have already left this in this past year. And there's going to be more because inventory is not getting any better. Everybody's going on to 3%. So I want to commend everybody here for showing up today on a Monday morning, because that's tiring to you. But you guys are investing in yourself, okay? And that's the best thing you can do at this point of your career too, when we have a little bit of a seesaw scenario going on, right? So what's going to set you apart? And what are your item of values? Does anybody here have their elevator pitch that they want to share? This is my interactive piece, and I do have prizes if you're willing.
I've seen the prizes.
Yeah. I told you it's going to be interactive. I can't sit up here and talk for an hour. You guys will fall asleep. So does anybody here have an elevator pitch that they are used to saying that this is the one thing, if they don't get anything across the table, this is what they're saying to their clients? Anybody? Yes.
I mean, I'm nobody's going to take better care of you than me.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I believe it.
Right.
So
what makes you different if everybody in here says, I'm going to take care of you, what are you doing different?
So I'm going to communicate with you,
Mm-hmm.
probably over-communicate rather than I'm going to do, you're going to be my first interest. So it's not going to be about me. It's about you.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do for you?
Yeah.
So
I love it. But that's great. Thank you for participating. Start a little coffee.
Thank
little
you.
Starbucks.
I heard fries.
Yeah, right? We all want something. And thank you. That brings me to my next point. So this is awesome because everybody wants something, right? You want to feel valued. Your client wants to feel that you're their top priority, right? And who doesn't want to feel that? You're the only one. And we can work with 10 clients, but if it feels like I'm working with 10 clients, I'm not really giving them the experience, right? So, but everybody loves a gift, and that's what we'll get to a little bit later. Does anybody here know the 5 love languages? Everybody heard of the 5 love languages? Okay. So my love language is gifts. It's number 1. We all have all 5. It's just a kind of a ranking, pecking order. If you give me a gift, I'm your best friend forever because I think it's so cool. Because I feel like you thought of me, right? So my elevator pitch that I always do is I try and separate myself. I'm more of the fun-loving, chill, laid back person. I'll show up in ripped jeans to a training and to your house. This is cool. This is me, right? But I always joke and say, we on our team are a one-stop shop, right? Whoever you need, I don't care if it's a hairdresser, a nail salon, a pizza place, the best bagel. There's no such thing as a good bagel here. I'm from New York. So I always joke, I will, thank you, New Yorker. So I always say, you're one-stop shop. You don't have to find anything. I have everybody you need, and if I don't have somebody, I will find you somebody, and I will interview those people until I know they're going to give you a service that I give you. And then I say, I'm Italian from New York. I got a guy for everything. That's my one line. So the other thing is, too, there's a saying, the grass is greener, and this is my favorite one. This is where, okay, hold on. Here we go. If you think the grass is greener on the other side, it's because it's fertilized with bullshit. Only curse I'm going to say today, but it's true, right? Everybody talks about the grass is greener, but I think that the grass is greener where you water it. It's just common nature, right? If I'm going to go out there, my husband goes out there and he's watering the grass, it's going to get greener. It's going to grow. He's nourishing that. That's what we're doing with our clients and our business. You just have to nurture them, right? So grass is greener where you water it. If you take nothing home today, take home that quote. It's people want to work with people who feel special. They're feeling nurtured. It's a relationship. So that's just totally me. Okay. So there's a couple of different types of clients that we all work with, right? So there's your leads, right? So maybe we are getting internet leads. Maybe we did a Google PPC and we don't know these people. We don't have a relationship with them yet. So then there's people you're actively working with. They've raised their hand and said, hey, I want to work with you. I want to buy or I want to sell. And then there's a long term, your friend just had a baby. They're in a condo, eventually they're going to probably need to buy something or maybe they're working on their credit. There's your long-term not yet, right? Anybody else? Anybody have any questions about this or any other type of client that you don't see on this board that you want me to talk about? Yeah, referrals. Great. This is what we're talking about today. Awesome. So referrals can fall into any of those categories, right? How many times have you had somebody say, I have somebody that I want to introduce you to, and then maybe it's not for another year, or maybe they're not looking for another 6 months. So they'll fall into one of those categories too. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is 2 different things. We're going to talk about how to make it the experience special and unique, but then also managing expectations. The communication is one thing that you said earlier, we heard earlier. Who doesn't like being communicated to? I mean, we may not all like picking up the phone and getting phone calls, we like text, whatever. But, okay, you can go to the next one. So I'm going to walk you guys through how we really deal with our clients. And I always call it the 3 L's. It's not live, love, laugh, by the way. It's listen, learn, and then lead. So when we meet clients, we want to listen. There's nothing worse than somebody over-talking you, not listening to what you have to say, like jumping. I know, like, I'm so guilty of that. When somebody says something and I can relate, I'm like, oh my God, me too. Oh my God, yeah. Oh, that's so true. I love doing that too. Like, I have a blue blazer. We should, yeah. So, the biggest thing is, like, people just want to be heard. We all want to be heard, right? And while we're listening, it's active listening because we have to learn, right? So a lot of times people say things that without saying it. Right? So sometimes it's either body language or like you can just tell by the questions they're asking or the points that they're making that like you have an opportunity to learn from what they're saying and then put it to use. And then the third one, the L, is, you can go to the next slide too, is lead. Which what that means is you want to gain control of the process because you are the professional. If you listen and you learn what they need, you can then lead them in the direction that they want. So to quote my dad, I love seeing that. He always says, with all good intentions, I could be leading you in the wrong direction. Okay? So I could be like, man, like, this house sucks. I can't believe you want to buy it. Like, there's so much work to do. But they may, like, love having projects. You don't know that. They may want a smaller home because they're more into, like, traveling. They may want a bigger home with all the room that they're never going to use because that's just what they like. Right? So also, that comes along with, like, in this type of market that we're in. So a lot of people don't mind overpaying for a price because they know they're going to be there forever. A lot of people don't know that they're overpaying for a home, and that's where we come in, right? So I have this thing that I call the ABLE theory. So adaptable, relatable, likable, knowledgeable equals capable of getting the sale. These are the 4 components that is going to be super important for you when you're having these conversations in the 3 L's with your clients. Does that make sense? I'm throwing out like a lot of like ABLE, 3 L's, like remember these things. So when we're listening, what are they saying without saying it? So listen for relatable and attraction opportunities. So when I go into somebody's house or I meet them, I'm like looking around their home to see if I see anything. Like, do they drink Tito's vodka? Yep, because I do. Like that's like something to talk about. Like, I see that at the bar. Do they have pictures of their kids? Like, oh, how old are their kids? I wonder. Do I see soccer trophies? And even like you find something to relate. And then the learn aspect is about being adaptable and relatable, right? So when we're listening, we're thinking about, what can we talk about? Like, what can help bring down that wall so they feel comfortable opening up to me? Because once they like you, they're going to want to do business with you. Once they trust you, they're going to want to do business with you. It's a simple know, like, and trust. And then when you're learning, in your head, you're adapting to their needs, to your plan. So what did you learn about them? Like, are they talking about hobbies? Are they talking about, I need a garage because I race my motorcycle on the weekends? Like, that's cool. Like, let's talk about it. And then your lead. So this is where you're taking over control now. So you're going to explain to them and show them that you are the professional, that you know exactly what you're doing, and they're going to follow your process. Because once we don't have control of the process, we've kind of lost control of the client a bit too. Did anybody ever have a hard time managing expectations with a client? Like, we could all raise 2 hands in a leg because, like, that happens all the time. And the best thing is that communication. What we're talking about is explaining the market and all those things. Let's see. How does this look? Okay. And it's a little bit different for buyers versus sellers, right? You can go to the next slide. So you're all going to want to take a picture of this. Next slide, I think. Yes, it is. Okay. This is my stick to the list timeline. And it varies for buyer versus seller for obvious reasons, right? Sometimes we have a buy-sell, but I want to kind of give you an idea of like the process we take our clients through. And then we're going to talk about how you can make it unique to yourself. Everybody got their picture? No? Okay. Okay. So you do not have to copy this exactly how, but I want you, this is like one that you should circle and that you're going to implement today. Because I always find that I have all this stuff in my head and I'm like, oh, I want to say this. Oh, I should have said this. Like, anybody ever leave a meeting and be like, oh, I just thought the best thing to say, and I wish, it's the worst, because my brain works faster than my mouth, or my mouth works faster than I don't know, one of those things. So we have a leave behind brochure that has this checklist, okay? My brochure is not a leather bounded brochure. It's not like spiral bounded at Staples. It's pretty, because I'm a branding person, but there only are bullet points, so I do not forget to say what I want to say. They are not a leave behind where my clients don't have to even talk to me by reading it, right? They're going to need to talk to me. That's the point, right? So this is how I take everybody through the process. We're going to talk about this a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is meet with them, whether it's Zoom, phone, in person. I always recommend, like, if you could do face-to-face. I think it just gives it like a more of a relatable, like, real feeling, because everybody has these phone conversations. Like, I can click on a Zillow lead listing and I can talk to anybody, right? But you're not anybody, and that's the point, and that's what we're going to work on today. So with meeting with them is listen, learn, lead. So has anybody ever done a buyer consultation with their lender? What? Wow. Yes, you have. Okay. So what's the reason why you do that?
Especially if they're worried about how does the whole lending process go, because it's intricately tied to every phase pretty much of the purchase.
Yeah, right, exactly. So when you're buying, what's the number one questions you guys get asked? Like, it has a lot to do with the approval, financing. How much can I afford? What's my monthly payment? What does that look like? Do I have good credit? Is my credit score not good? Like, well, what are we going to do? So one thing we do is with our buyers, we do a buyer consultation with the lender. That's killing two birds with one stone. Because now I just position myself as a team. I'm coming collectively together and showing that, hey, now you don't have one person working for you, you have two people working for you. And that lender does not want to disappoint me. So it works out really well. And then also you throw in your title company, right? And any other partners you guys have. Now we have 3 people on every deal that we are working as a team. Should we hit a bump in the road, you have 3 people on your side, right? And then it gives the impression that I'm the professional. I know what we're doing, because I'm going to answer all your questions this one meeting. I'm not going to lose you being, oh, hey, yeah, go call my lender or fill out this application, right? We just did it together once. We're done. Next thing is you're filling out the application now, because now you just put a face to the name with my lender, and then we go shopping, okay? Christy, you got a gift card for participating. Thank you. And I'm just going to take a breath because I'm out of breath from talking so fast and so much. I know, right? Coffee for everybody. Yes.
From a lender perspective, you taking that control and guiding them because you've done your research, you feel confident, is so much more helpful, because if we get where they've called 3 different people, they're now confused, the confused mind says no, and you lose them for weeks.
Yeah.
Having that control is so valuable.
Yes, thank you for adding that. And I love that because you're coming from you. So anybody else here a control freak? I am. So that control word is on point. Because again, I have more control of the process. When you're using my team, because has anybody ever not used a lender or a title company that they're used to working with? It sucks so bad. I've had terrible deals happen, and I'm like, this is what happens when you don't listen. Told you so. I don't say it like that, but I'm thinking it. But it has an opportunity. I have more control. So when people, so as if this was a seller, and I'm walking through their home, and I'm going around okay, we need to do X, Y, and Z. Who do you think who is my next call do you think it's going to be when they have stuff that they have to do in their house? Contractors. Yeah, exactly. Why? Because I have more control over it. Because I know exactly what they're going to do. I know when their timeline is. I can put them in place when I need them to be put in place. And I can call them and be like, you need to get there today. Why didn't you show up? If I have no control over, because we all know contractors are tough, right? Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do good work, sometimes they don't. So again, I'm having that list of partners. I said earlier, my elevator pitch, one-stop shop. I will find somebody for you because I want to have control over the experience and the process. I don't want you to have a bad experience and it's going to be a reflection of me because I don't have control over it. So next thing, then after we meet with the lender, we're going to get that pre-approval. And then I'm talking to the lender. I always make them feel comfortable. I don't know your financial status, but I do know my window that we're going to shop in. Because the worst thing I could do for you is have you go window shopping and then I disappoint you because We're looking at $1 million homes, but our lender says we can only look up to 800. We're not coming back from that $1 million home that we just saw, and now you have to look at the $800,000 one, you know? So what I do is I walk them through this process so they know exactly what to expect in this market. Every market's different, so it's important that when you do have a leave behind, you have a bullet point, but you're not being specific in your leave behind because we're constantly changing. Like, I remember, it was like 2 years ago, the weekend of Father's Day. We had a listing that had 30-something showings. The next weekend, it was Father's Day weekend, we had 2 showings, and it sat for 2 weeks. It flips like this. Like, we all know that, right? So I walk them through this process. Okay, we just met with the lender. We're going to get pre-approved. Then I'm going to send you listing alerts. I always give a heads up, again, that it's going to be an automated alert. I'm not going to be very specific in that because we may miss out on something like if the agent didn't put it in and say the schools. If I start searching through by schools, we may miss a home. If they didn't add that they have a garage, I may miss that home. But not to worry because every week I go in, because we all know what's the most popular day to list a home. Yes. So we all know that like Thursday, Friday, I'm going in and I'm going to start looking through the listings. I'm going to cherry pick. I'm going to pick the ones that I think best suit you and your needs, and then I'm giving that extra touch. So now I'm automating most of the work here, but then I'm going to go in, I'm going to look at my active list, I'm going to go down the list on Thursdays and Friday mornings and see who I need to send a couple listings to. And then we're going to tour homes, and then what happens when we find the one? This is where I start talking to them about what the process looks like when we get under contract. And this, again, is managing expectations. I can't express that enough, and I feel like every time I do meet these clients, this is always what wins them over. For good, bad, ugly, I'm being honest. Doesn't matter, like I say, there's 4 contingencies when you get under contract. I'm going to walk you through each one of them. We have your HOA, which is the get out of jail free card, right? So yes, I don't ever want to void on HOA, but if I need to, I will, and here's why, and I explain. It's an act, it's not a contingency, it can't be dropped. Okay? When I'm talking to the sellers, what I tell them is, what's different about me being your listing agent is I'm ordering those HOA docs as soon as you sign that contract because it is the get out of jail free card, right? So when I get a ratified contract, I'm sending over those HOA docs. That's another thing you guys should do. If you take home one thing today, is order those HOA docs right away. Nothing is worse than giving your buyers a way out 3 weeks into the deal. Okay? And then I'm going to talk about home inspection. There's 2 types of home inspections, right to void, right to negotiate, and the third one is you don't get it at all. Depends on the situation of the house. And I explained to them that everything is going to be very situational, right? So are there multiple offers? Has it been on the market for a couple weeks? What can I do? Are we competing? So that depends on that one. I always explain that's the first one to get dropped. That's the first contingency to go. So if you're not comfortable with that, let's talk about it now, and we'll talk about things that we can get around. But if I know going into this, again, this is where I'm learning, if I know going into buying a home that they're like, I am not willing to waive inspection, then I know exactly how I'm going to handle my client when that home pops up that they love. Then this has integrating the market trends here too, right? So then I talk about your financing and appraisal, what that means, bullet points, and I say it just depends. There's a million scenarios we could talk about, but again, situational. It's like, anybody ever grew up on Pee Wee Herman? Do you guys remember Pee Wee Herman? Okay, you know, like the word of the day, and it's like, like, so situational is going to be my word of the day. Okay. So I walk them through, and then I say that I talk about the contingencies. And in my leave behind, I have a pros versus cons image. We're all visual. It's easy. It's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Super simple. What's good for a buyer, the pros, and the thumbs down for what's good for the sellers, right? So my job is to make your offer as competitive as possible. I want to get you to the table to the point where you can be like, no, I'm not going that far. I want to put the ball in your court so you can say no. That's my job. Get you as far as you're willing to go. And I always explain like the appraisal. Like for good or for bad, I'm going to tell you where you stand financially. Okay? So I do comps. I do my homework up front. I do a CMA. Does anybody here do a CMA for their clients? Okay. So if I see a home that's listed and I go back and I do my comps and I say I'm doing the homework up front, what an appraiser is going to do. So I know, again, managing expectations, if we're going to come in, if there's a chance that this may not appraise. So I just had this happen in a townhome in Bramilton. And I told him that it was overpriced, probably about like $10,000, $15,000, but we were getting a $10,000 concession. Now, whether or not the appraiser takes that into consideration, that's like the one piece of the puzzle that we never really know which way it's going to go, right? We've seen the appraisals be amazing and on point. We've seen the appraisal be like, what were you looking at, right? So I told him, I was like, it's a little bit overpriced, so we're pushing appraisal. Are you comfortable with that? This is what it may mean for you. This may mean like we have a secondary negotiation that we're going to have to do. And sure enough, it did not appraise. It appraised for $15,000 lower. So I was on point. I was like, yes. I love when that happens. I'm like, I still got it. And I said, like, okay, now we have our round of negotiations. So one thing I promise every single one of my clients is we come from an education standpoint. You will always get options from us. The best thing you can do for your client is like what I said earlier today was with all good intentions, you could be leading them in the wrong direction, right? So the options is the best way to like one, CYA, but two, educate your client. So, okay, I call them. I said, option one, we void the contract. We're not going to negotiate. If they don't come down, we're not going to negotiate. Two, we negotiate. And then three, whatever I said, I don't remember. So we went back. He's like, all right. He's like, I want to go back and see what they're going to do. So I was like, are you okay with me trying to negotiate this for you? And he said yes, because we did get that one with a Tidewater. Has anybody been in a Tidewater before? Anybody not know what a Tidewater is, by the way? Okay, so a Tidewater is if you're doing a VA loan and the appraiser cannot make the contract price work. So it means like, hey, like we're coming in low. Here's your opportunity, which nobody else gets that opportunity. Here's your opportunity. You have 2 days to give me comps to see if I can make the contract work. More so than not, they don't change it, but it's a little bit more difficult. So we knew that. So when I knew that, my option for them was, hey, like I can go back and negotiate work with the listing agent and say, give me all your comps. I'm going to give a list of why everything's better in our home than the other home. And he said, yeah, I'm good with that. The other option was like, hey, I'm not going to help him out. I'm not going to help out this price of the home. We're just going to wait and see what happens. So he gave me the option or the opportunity to negotiate it. They didn't change it. So I went back and I talked to the listing agent and we were able to lower the price and still keep our concessions, right? So, which was awesome. But again, I gave options. That's the biggest thing you can do. And that's the reason why I do that is I'm empowering my client to make a decision for themselves because they feel, this is going to sound so bad. Okay, so I have kids. I have two boys, an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old boy. And I'm totally that mom that I'm like, okay, like, do you want to go sit on the stairs for your timeout or do you want to go to your room? Because I have control-free kids. I wonder why. And it makes them feel like they're kind of like a little bit more in control, but I'm still getting my point across, right? Because these are your options, period. Pick one, pick your destiny. And then I just basically walk them through, like talk about the final walkthrough and everything. So the other way that you can do to manage expectations is I like to have everything in writing backup. How much time do I have? Okay. So once we go under contract, they get a timeline from me. So a lot of clients like the check boxes. You're never going to miss a date when you're working with me because I have a timeline already that I'm seeing, but you're going to get that timeline too, okay? Our inspection has to be done by February 10th. Your financing has to be done by February 15th. Let's check that box. And what's happening next? One piece of advice I got early on in my career is if you have to do it twice, make it a template. If you have to have the same conversation twice, make it a template. So I did. So like next steps, like, okay, we're under contract. What's happening next? What does that mean for you? What does that mean for your client? And then throughout this process, I give gifts too. So we're going to talk about that. I think that's the next one, right?
What's the IOV?
Oh, so IOV stands for item of value. So when I do marketing, I'm not selling. I'm giving them a piece of information that is going to be useful to them. So anytime we do monthly emails, we do monthly mailers, like the 8.5 by 11, they're huge. I'm not saying like, oh, like we sold like X amount of homes today. Like, let me know if you want to buy or sell. I'm giving them like, okay, in February, here's how you can here's like some checklist, a checkbox. I should say in December. December, we had a bucket list. Things you should do in December that like in the area, right? So like light shows, like make a snowman, go sleigh riding, like just fun stuff because it keeps it personal and it's like relatable, right? Nobody knows. We're not the team that talks about our sales volume a lot because when I say we're true to our core, it goes back to the video I showed you guys, that authenticity is we care about helping people. So when you see at the end of the year, when everybody's like, we did $40 million in sale, we did $100 million in sale, we say we helped 86 families this year. So thank you for asking that. Okay, so When you're working with active clients and your cheerleaders. So I love giving gifts. It's my favorite thing to do in the whole wide world. But what's really cool about it is we really make it unique. So I talked about when you have to do anything, any conversation you have to do, anytime you have to explain something more than twice, you make it a template, put it in a sheet, and say, hey, congratulations, you just went under contract. Here's what's going to happen next. And you say, send it to every single client, and then let them come. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so they have something that they can look at too, and you can reference it. But as you get busier, the idea is we have automated systems that keep a personal touch, because you want everything to be scalable. Now, don't get me wrong, it didn't start easy, because at the end of the day, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what closing gift should I give? Does anybody not give closing gifts? Everybody gives closing gifts? That's amazing. I would be like, oh, well, they have kids. Should I make a basket, but should I put their name on it? Should I get it engraved, or should I get a plant, or should I add a blanket because they're going to have a baby soon? And I would spend so much time thinking about, like, what gift am I going to give these people? And it was exhausting, and I'm like, I have to, like, my gifts is my thing. It has to be fantastic. So eventually I realized, like, that doesn't work because it takes a lot of brain power. So I started thinking, what can I do to systematize and still keep it personal? So somebody has a baby, I have a go-to gift. It's a onesie that says, welcome to my crib. Okay. And then if it's a boy, they get a little orange bow tie. If it's a girl, they get an orange tutu. If somebody has somebody that passes, unfortunately, with dog, family, anything, and I'm stalking people on Facebook, they get a gift from me. It's a wind chime. Okay. At closing, they get a specific gift, and then they get gifts throughout the process, right? So I'm just letting them know, like, hey, I'm still here. Hey, this is going to be fun. My job is to take the stress out of it. And if you guys know me personally, like, I like to have fun. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it. Kind of a brat, right? So one thing that I encourage you guys to do is make it unique to yourself. So I give a stress kit when somebody gets under contract. Just to kind of, like, it's Advil, it's chocolate, it's a notebook, it's like a level up cup. There's only one thing that has my logo on it, because I do feel it's not great to put your logo on every single gift somebody gets, because it doesn't feel personal. It feels like, hey, I'm just branding myself, right? One cup with level up, and then my favorite token thing is the poop emoji stress ball. Yes, you heard that correctly. My friend was like, you're crazy. She's like, people are going to think you're nuts. It is the number one thing people talk about when they get. So I'm like, in case of any of those, oh crap moments happen, because I'm being real. I'm not selling butterflies and roses. I'm selling you guys an opportunity to make an educated purchase that's going to be like bought and sold maybe only one other time, or in like creating generational wealth for you, right? But I'm keeping it real. So people really like that. So you can fine tune like something that's like unique to you guys if you're comfortable with it. And then again, like leveraging my partners. So once we get a little bit closer, I do an introduction to my insurance agent and then my movers. Again, control of the situation. How many times have, like, 3 days before closing and, like, we still don't have an insurance quote. We're going to be late. You know, like, it happens all the time. Yeah. The second day they're under contract, I'm introducing them to my insurance agent. And the cool thing about it is I say, hey, this is Landy Patton. That's who I use from State Farm. A little plug if you guys don't have somebody. He's amazing. He is going to look at if you already own a home or you already have insurance, he's going to look at what you have, and he's going to tell you, hey, you know what? That looks great. I can't beat it. You should stick with them. Do you know how many times I've had people change over to him just because he was honest? Like, that's client service. That's a client experience. I know I can trust that guy because he's telling me to go with somebody else. So I'm going to put my money with him. And then with my movers, I say, hey, on behalf of Level Up Homes, Star Moving Solutions is going to drop off a package of boxes, tape, things that you need to just help get you started. And it gives me an opportunity to introduce my clients to my partner, and it gives my partner an opportunity to sell his service. Hey, I'm here for you. When's a good day to drop this off? I can even do an estimate for you at that time. Again, control of the experience. Because like one thing, if you ever hear, people like tend to go a little bit cheaper on the move, right? And it's like the worst experience. I don't know if you guys ever heard moving horror stories, but they exist and there's plenty of them. But again, this all comes back, it's like selfishly unselfish in a way, kind of, because it all ties back to me. When they have a good experience, they're remembering that and they're thinking of me. Because they didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to go searching for movers. They didn't have to go searching for somebody else. They didn't have to do like the quotes. And like people are exhausted, and moving is one of the most stressful things to do, right? So our job is to take the stress out, one-stop shop. And then they get a gift at closing and a year anniversary gift. My thing is I want to create opportunities for conversations, right? It's the best thing you can do when you're dealing with clients. So this is just a couple examples. The best form of advertising is, who knows? Best form of advertising. Yes, thank you. You get a card. You get a gift card. Mhm. So this is just an example of sometimes when I give a gift out, people are posting on social media, okay, and tagging me. And then guess what? They have 1,000 followers. They have 500 followers. They have 10 followers. I don't care. They just gave me exposure to a group of people I don't know, right? So like that's the biggest thing. Like so like, oh, my realtor is the best. I'm like, oh, thank you. You know, but it's fun because people love getting gifts and they want to share. Because how many times have you had somebody say, oh, I need to get my hair colored. And you're like, oh, you got it on my girl. Like, oh, like what's the best piece of place? Oh, you got to go try Solos in Leesburg. Like everybody wants to be part of your experience, right? So everybody wants you want to like give value. This is it. This is a form of advertising you don't have to pay for. And we have 5 touches throughout the process. Then we work with a company called Client Giant. Does anybody know Client Giant? Okay. This is your set it and forget it opportunity. $99 for the year. I cannot believe they haven't raised their prices. Knock on wood, please don't. I hope they don't. So $99 for a year. They get 1 gift a quarter. So as soon as they close, my next thing, again, template, repeat, is I sign them up for Client Giant. They're not going to get a gift from me every quarter for a year. And then the best part about it is I get an email with tracking numbers, and I know when those are delivered. And if you don't say thank you to me, because I'm a big thank you person, I give you a week, and then I text you or I call you like, hey, just want to make sure you got my gift. Again, creating opportunity for conversation. Then how many times people post like their image, oh my gosh, and it's these non-essential nicety gifts, right? So people go straight to social media and post about it, and then that's how you start your referral business, right? Yes.
Do you ask them to post on social media? Okay, they just organically.
Yeah, they organically do it. Now, I do have a couple of cheerleaders who's like one of my best friends. She owns her own business, and she'll like sometimes I'll be like, hey, like somebody commented on this. Can you comment on this? I have like little like, what do you call them? Like I place people sometimes like, oh hey, can you do this for me? But most of the time, it just this organically happens. It's never like a repost. It's like, hey, somebody was asking for a realtor. Like, can you comment on this? Which is like we all know there's like 400. Like you can throw a rock and hit 20 agents. This is what's going to set you apart. We are people. People want to work with people. Okay? They don't want to work with transactional people. This is my link. If you guys want to take a picture of it at Client Giant, I don't get anything for it, but he just knows I'm a huge fan of them. And I was like, oh, can I have a link that says my name on it so you know it's like coming from me? But he does. It's clientgiant.com/Andrea. It is the best money you will ever spend because again, set it, forget it. And then I don't do this just for, we talked about referrals earlier, or people like long-term. I don't just do it for people who are under contract. I do it for anybody who I think I'm going to work with and any of my cheerleaders. Like I have 3 friends that's never done a deal with me. One of them didn't even buy and sell with me. Rude. It's a whole other story. But they give out my name all the time, and they are getting the gifts because I want to reward good behavior. So anytime somebody says anything like, oh, I just gave your name to my friend, if they call you, I automatically text them a $10 gift card to Starbucks saying, thank you so much for thinking of me. I really appreciate it. And then when they close, I give them another gift. So I want to reward, right? Like, thank you for thinking of me. That's the big thing. Because there's so many of us. Like, you have an option. It's like what they say, Southwest. Like, we know you have options. Thanks for choosing to fly with us. You know, like everybody knows a ton of realtors. So we make it memorable. So here's my one thing. So $500,000 sales price is like an average sales price here. If anybody can do math on a Monday, I can't. But that's like a 2.5%. I think that's like $14,000 commission. If anybody wants to correct me, you can bring out a calculator. I won't think you're texting. So if I told you that you can spend $350 between your gifting plan throughout the process, plus your $100, including your $100 for however long you want to keep them on a plan, at a $14,000, would you pay that? Yes? Yes, everybody should say yes. Because what is that? $350 of $14,000 is what percentage of your commission? Anybody want to do the math? It's like 2%, right? 2%, that's nothing. I don't know if anybody here buys Zillow leads. You're spending like $10,000 just to get up on the leaderboard a month and maybe you do a deal. But we're pouring into the people who already know, like, and trust us. We already have their buy-in, but we're just nurturing them again because the grass is greener where you water it, right? Okay, next slide. Yes, questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering about how you deliver the gifts.
Yeah, so The client giant, they get delivered for you automatically. For our gifts, again, like that's like the repeat thing. So we have a template where we have pre-made boxes or pre-packaged stuff. So we use Pirate Ship. Now, if you have the opportunity where you can hand deliver it yourself, awesome. If you don't, Pirate Ship is where you print out a label and they come to your house and they pick it up. So it costs us like $7 for like our stress kit, and we know exactly like where, like how much it weighs and everything like that. Pirate Ship, pirate as in like hoy. Yeah, I was like trying to think, what does a pirate say? Yeah, it's called Pirate Ship. And you can just literally like have like a stash. Okay, like here's my stress kit. Here's like moving boxes. Moving boxes. Before I used my moving partner, I got them from Amazon. Amazon has a gift box package. And then my closing gifts, I hit up Costco. I get some champagne, some wine, and now I send through Etsy. I send a welcome mat. Before I was doing personalized slate boards, I kind of try and see like what's like trending, what's cool. We were all like in that charcuterie phase, right? So we did that, and it became a little bit cumbersome. So we're learning, right? The biggest thing here in this industry is adapting. You got to adapt constantly, like pivot all the time, see what makes work for you. But the welcome mats have their last name on it. So it's a little bit more personal. But we're constantly trying to change that over. So anything I could do where I can just go online and click, here's the address, send it. And then I have like a stash at home of like bags and wine and champagne and whatever else I'm bringing. And I just put together a bag and I go. Any questions? Let's see. Yes.
Right. So for the closing gifts, you ship them? Because I actually bring them to closing. Is that, well, I don't know.
That's great. Yeah.
Better to have it shipped? Because sometimes when I meet them at the house, I'm like, you probably don't want to lug this all the way from the settlement back to the house.
Yeah.
So I just don't know.
But that's a really good question. So it's unique to you, right? So whatever you want to do. Up until this past year, I brought it to closing. I did. And I still bring something to closing. I still bring a bottle of champagne for celebrating, and they get what I call an anniversary bottle of wine, because on their home anniversary, I send them a wine stopper. And I say, hold on to this bottle. So at your 1 year, do you guys ever do that for bridal showers where it's like, on your first fight, open up this bottle? And like, you know, like things like that, your first baby. It's like that. And I have like a sticker on it that says like a little like fun poem, like say this for your 1 year anniversary. And I send them a wine stopper on the 1 year anniversary. So I do give that at closing now. It used to be the slate board and all this other stuff. They get keychain too from me. But then the one item now, I just have them send, because it's like another, like it comes like 3 weeks later, another touch. Don't forget about me. Hey, hi, it's me. Because most of the people after 3 months forget their realtor's name. My job is to keep top of mind so you don't forget who I am, so you refer me again. So it's a great question. You can do whatever makes you comfortable. But if it's like a large cumbersome thing where you can't order it ahead of time, I'm also like crazy superstitious. So I'm afraid to get anything personalized before closing. That's just me. Like I won't post like, hey, under contract, because I did that one time and then it got voided. I was like, oh shit. Like, so now I'm like, I'm not gonna do that again. But that's just me. You guys do you. Any other questions about like the gifting? Like anybody else think of like another opportunity during the communication process that you feel like you can implement something personal, a personal touch? An example, anybody? There's a gift card waiting for you if you respond. No? It's because I gave you all the good ideas. Okay, so let's talk about long term. Okay, so those are the people that are getting those gifts throughout the process are people that I'm actively working with. Okay, but let's talk about the people who aren't doing anything for 6 months, a year, 5 years. I just converted somebody I've been talking to for 5.5 years. 5.5 years. That's crazy. She's like, weren't you pregnant? And I was like, yes. And he's like going to be 5. Like that's how long ago. I couldn't even remember. And it feels like short because it goes by really fast. So don't forget, like building your pipe is just as important. One thing we teach our agents too, take the rentals. But the best thing about the rentals is you know when their lease ends, right? 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month before their lease ends. Like we are like, hey, hi, remember me? Like I would love to help you. You want to renew? Or like here's what's going on in the market. Like let's talk about it. Giving yourself, again, creating opportunity for conversation. So long term, okay? Something I've been doing lately, and I'm not going to take credit for it. I learned with our president at our brokerage, Sharon. I call it Zexting, but it's not like the proper. It's Zillow, right? So home value. Everybody like lays on Zillow all the time, right? And we all know sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's way off. Okay, so sometimes what I'll do is if I know people have been in their home for a little bit, or I see them like opening up some emails, I'm working in my CRM, I'll send them a screenshot of the Zillow value of their home. I was like, hey, have you seen what Zillow values your home at? Like, what do you think about it? And they ask them the question, like, what do you think about it? And see what they say, because I'm asking a question, I'm engaging them in, hey, give me an answer. What do you think? And like, would you like me to do like a home valuation for you and show you like what it really is worth? That's like one opportunity, right? Everybody wants to know, like, oh my gosh, my house is worth that? What? That's crazy. I'm like, I know, let's sell it because nothing's on the market. Could probably get more. And then like that's one thing, like a touch to engage in conversation. But you can also put them on HomeBot. You can talk to your lender about it, sending those for you. You could do it right in your CRM. And then the check-ins. So I have people in my CRM, like every quarter I'm trying to check in, right? And I have on my Facebook set that every morning at 6:30 I get an email that says everybody's birthdays that I'm friends with. I friend request everybody. I'm like this Facebook stalker. But I also am bad at scrolling because like it's so super toxic. So I hate scrolling because I'm like, oh, what are they doing? That looks fun. I should do that and lose focus again. So I did because I'm like, I want to know when your birthday is. I want to say happy birthday. I text them. I don't send them a message on Facebook. I just say, hey, happy birthday. What are you doing? Anything special? And like, hey, let's grab some coffee, right? So I do stuff like that. Updates on rates. So remember when everybody was refinancing a couple years ago and it was insane? So were you guys calling your clients and like, hey, there's an opportunity for 3%. Like, what's your interest rate? I can help you. There's nothing in it for you. Nothing except the fact that they know that you value them and that you care about them. There's nothing better, like the example I gave of Landy, nothing better that says respect and trust when somebody's helping you and there's nothing in it for them. No skin in the game, nothing in it. And then, let's see, what else? And then events. Okay, let's talk about events. Anybody here do client events? Okay. What do you do for your client events?
We're doing a wine with our lender.
Oh, nice. Like a wine tasting? Cool. So who do you invite?
We invite everybody in our sphere,
Mm-hmm.
another agent, and it's just a home buying, super casual.
Yeah, but it's intimate, right? And who doesn't love wine? I mean, some people don't, but I mean, you can't go wrong. Get some alcohol flowing. Everybody starts talking a little bit more. Anybody else give an example of a event that they share? Yes.
We have 3 different client events every year, and one of them is at Casa Pomodoro,
Ooh.
and we take over the restaurant on a Sunday afternoon
Yeah.
and do the wine tasting thing and dinner. And in the fall, we do a big event at Stone Tower Winery, and again, we invite all of our database, and we all have a great time. And you're right, wine goes very well.
Right, right, yeah, exactly. But what I'm also hearing, because remember we talked about like listening without what they're saying without saying it, is you have a system. Like you know your events that you're doing every year, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh hey, you're doing that event this year? Oh hey, can I come to that wine tasting this year? Like set expectations. Like people like want to do things like that, right?
And this year we're going to send out a save the date card.
Perfect. Because now you're adapting. So you're like, okay, this is what I learned. Now I'm going to send out a save date. Now you don't have to doing is better than perfect, right? So let's just get it done and then like perfect it as you go, right? So now we're setting a save date. We might not have done that before, but now we're doing it because we want everybody to come. So the best thing is, like one piece of advice I can give you about events is tell them, hey, bring somebody that you think I should meet. Bring somebody that you think I should meet that could benefit from like a fun friend or that you think maybe like looking to buy or sell. And I don't even say like looking to buy or sell, but I'm just saying, like, I think that's kind of like what people are thinking automatically when I'm saying, hey, invite somebody that you think I should know. They're not necessarily being like, I've had people like, oh my God, you got to meet my wife. Like, you guys would be great friends. Like, cool, I love friends. That means more people in my sphere, but also I like hanging out. But then also people are automatically thinking like, hey, you're in real estate. Like, who do I know? Like, make them start thinking about, who can they introduce you? How can they help you? Because people want to help you because you're doing all this other stuff for them too, right? Anybody else that do events that have any really great advice for an experience? Yes. That's awesome. What time of year do you do that?
I've done it twice in the fall, which is nice because you can get like 1,000 pumpkins and haystacks.
Yes. I love that. That's perfect. Because everybody knows holiday cards go out at the end of the year. Everybody wants that new family photo. You just took something off of their plate that they don't have to worry about, and they're not paying for it because it's expensive. Oh my gosh. Has anybody ever paid for family photos before? Like $400, and then you get one good one because the kids are all like wonky faces. You can't get everybody to smile at the same time. But I love that because you're giving them an item of value. Again, the IOV, item of value. Like, what can I give you that serves you that doesn't serve me, right? So my monthly marketing is my top of mind. Again, item of value. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just saying, hey, guess what's going on this weekend? Maybe you would be interested in doing this with your family. Or hey, like top 10 things to get for Valentine's Day. Our February mailer was how to fight the February illness. Like if anybody has kids or like petri dishes and like there's stomach bug going around like crazy, everybody's getting sick. And then I made like a little joke on the other side that just said another way of not to like fight any like sickness is like don't forget Valentine's Day, people. Like hey, like buy your wife, girlfriend, son, brother, mother, I don't care who it is. Like in May it said like PSA, like don't forget to call your mom, like for Mother's Day. Like just like fun stuff, like little touches. Like when you go on social media, and like this is just the world we're in, unfortunately. I feel like it's like the demise of our country, but it's also like what we have to do. So when you go on social media, what makes you laugh? What makes you smile? What makes you cry? Those are your people. That material is the material you should be sharing, okay? So people go on social media for education, empathy, and oh my gosh, I can't remember, entertainment. 3 E's. I'm so good at initials today. The 3 E's, okay? So whatever you're looking at, that's your audience. The more people you try and speak to, the less people you're touching. The more you can niche down and like identify like who you are as a person and like what material and value you want to give, the more people you're going to speak to. So I identify with the hot mess moms because like I'm always joking around, like if you guys follow me, and I hope you do, I'm always posting stuff about my boys because if anybody here is a boy mom, they're crazy. They have so much energy. Yeah, thank you. You know, okay. They have so much energy, and I just like, and it's hilarious, and it's great content because everybody's like, oh my gosh, my kid drew on the wall too, and I framed it too. Like yeah, because it's funny, right? So like just things that people can relate. Again, it comes back to the relatability. People want to work with people who they like and who they can hang out with. Wouldn't that be cool? And so this is how we get referral business. So our business went from, it was like 2 years ago, it was like 75% referral. Now we're over 90% referral-based business. We do not buy leads. And we have a team of 9 agents. Yes?
For your monthly marketing, your emails and direct mail, do you use a company or are you doing all of this together yourself with someone on your team?
Yeah. So great question. So there are companies that you can use that you can third party out. I am, again, a control freak. So my brand is everything to me. So I put together all the information myself. I do have a director of operations. I'm like, hey, I want to do this month, and she makes it look pretty. I started with, and the best thing I can do is, does everybody here use Canva? It's like my best friend. It's at first when you go in, it's like super overwhelming. You guys don't have to make it perfect. Get a template and just say, okay, when I go under contract, I want to post every time I go under contract. This is my template. This is what I'm going to use. All I'm going to do is plug and play. The more you can plug and play, the more likely you're going to actually do it. Right? The biggest thing is execution. I do not want anybody to leave here today and not execute, because that's our biggest thing that anybody does. We can sit here and learn, but if you did sit here and for an hour and a half and you don't do anything, at least one thing I said, let's make this hour and a half productive for you guys. So as far as my mailers though, my postcards, I send it out to a company that mails it for me. But in the beginning, I bought orange envelopes. I printed out my printer at home, I folded it, and I mailed it off by myself. Then I upgraded to a folding machine. Then I upgraded to postcards. Then I had somebody else. Just take one step at a time. Like nobody needs to start like pouring money into like these postcards. I did not start that way. I just started doing that a year and a half ago. Okay, so and I started with like 20 mailers, and it was called Dre's Deals. And I had like every time I had a partner, it was like, hey, you need your HVAC clean? Like call Carter Services. He's gonna give you 10% off when you mention my name. It's like that's it. And then I would post on a picture on social media saying, hey, if you want tips and tricks and deals, like let me know. I'll send out a letter to you. And so I would try and get information that way. So it's just the little things like step 1, then step 2. So they don't go to step 5. If you skip 1 through 4, you're not going to continue to do it. It's going to be like unbearable. Like it's going to be hard to keep it going. So note cards, things that you can do, like make a goal, 10 note cards a week, 2 a day. I'm sending a handwritten note card to somebody I'm thinking of, so they know I'm thinking of them. And then the other thing I do this thing where I say I assume the business. So when I meet somebody, if I just have a phone call, I send them a card, already a templated card that I made in Canva that I had printed out. I have a stack of them at home, and I go to like Harris Teeter. I buy like 50 lotto cards. So what I do is I stick the card in, a lotto card in, it says, hey, I'm so lucky to have you as a client, sending luck your way. Simple, super easy, so easy. So just keep it easy. It's like the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, and then grow it as you grow. And And then like with the events, like so an event may cost, if you're using partners, maybe it costs like $750 to $1,500. You get one deal, it pays for itself. One person that they brought a friend, or one person that's like, oh, this is such a cool idea, I love it. And you have people looking forward to it every year. Who are they thinking about? Like you should be touching everybody at least 36 times a year. At least. What is that, 3 times a month? I can't do my math. 3 times? Yeah? Okay. Anybody have any questions? You guys are such a quiet group and I'm probably boring you, but.
The gifts that are being sent that you're using with Client Giant?
Yes.
What types of things are they? One is a bottle of wine at some point, I'm assuming?
No, so the bottle of wine comes from me, but great question. So I like to call it my Client Giant the non-essential niceties. So they're like things you wouldn't think to give. One time it was a Turkish towel. Everybody loved that. This past month it was like remaking. It was like a bag of like loose wax that you can pour into like your favorite candle and like remelt it. Another time it was like one of those chargers, portable chargers. Another time it was like sunscreen pack. Another time it was like barbecue spice set. So things I just like, oh, I didn't think I needed this, but now I do, you know? So the non-essential niceties, those are things that are thoughtful. Doesn't have my logo on it. Has a card that comes that says something like really nice in it, and it has my name on it. That's it. Also, in Amazon, you can do gift cards, right? So like a gift message. So you can send a gift message and have it gift wrapped too. So if you don't have to put so much thought into it, but like if you're like, oh, I really like giving these box sets. I really like giving this candle like after somebody moves in because it says like home or something like that. Like save it and just send it every time. Just don't overthink it. I don't know what the next slide is. That's it. And that may be it. Well, look at me on time. Okay, so if you guys want to follow us, that's our Instagram. This is my information. So if you didn't learn something today, I want you to message me, and I will be happy to do a one-on-one with you and help you personalize like your business. And if you don't want to have to put the thought into it and you want something that's already systematized, you're welcome to join our team too. So I hope it was helpful. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing is treat people like you want to be treated. So simple, right? I know like it's a crazy concept, but bring it back to basics. This is a people industry. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, we're in sales, a people industry. Treat people that way. So I'm just going to call out people randomly. I'm going to totally put you on the spot. I have 2 cards left. If anybody took notes, I want you now to take like 2 minutes, circle the 3 things you're going to do when you leave here. Okay, Alexander, pick 2 people that I want you to tell me the 3 things you're going to work on when you go home.
I need to update. Like you said, the leave behind brochure.
Yeah.
I think I want to move to something more graphic. Like you said, people are very visual, and I'm learning I'm also very visual.
Yeah.
Working on getting a gift for when people are under contract, that stress kit. That's a great idea. And adding, like once you're under contract, the insurance quote and the introduction to the movers.
I love it. That's awesome. Because what I love about that too is these are all trackable items. Yeah. Give yourself a deadline of when you're going to do that by. I'm going to give you a deadline, February 15th.
A lot of the stuff, I think most of us, if we've been in business long enough, are doing it, but this really, personalizes it.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying, like, you're adapting, like, make it more personal. Like, you're already doing it. Are you doing it consistently? Right. And are you doing it well, right? Okay.
A lot of pressure.
It's okay.
We're similar, can you tell? Peter, all the way back there.
All right, on the spot.
Pressure.
A lot of great stuff today. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What really resonated with me was the home anniversary gift. I think that's a phenomenal way to follow up in a very tangible way. And then internally, the templates for everything. I say I have templates for a few things, but not nearly as many as I should. And then I think client wrap is another great way to reach out.
Yeah. Yes. Great. And you added something extra, a bonus feature for you. Thank you. Does anybody else want to share? I know I don't have any more gift cards, but we love sharing. Yes, Samantha.
To the idea of the stress ball type idea, I spent over a decade in new home sales. We had a very high cancellation rate. Over 50% of people canceled, and I think y'all are dealing with a high cancellation rate now. It's a variety of things, and often it's the expert family member who gives them advice.
Yes, I love when Dad comes to home inspection.
So if I were to come back to what we used to do how you're using that stress ball, we used to do buyer's remorse pills, and we get the, in medical tubes, what do you call them, medicine tubes, what, plastics?
Oh, it looks like the pill thing, that one? Yeah, pill box, pill bottle, yeah.
M&Ms, we would label it buyer's remorse pills. And at contract, we would say, you're going to go home, and everyone is going to try to protect you. They're going to have a lot of opinions, and some of them are going to be very, very valid, and it's going to cause you worry. When you have that worry, take these M&Ms and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's always that self-doubt. But you can do the same thing with the stress ball. Is you're going to hear a lot of different opinions. All of a sudden, that little reticular activator is going to turn on, and you're going to hear lots of opinions. But I'm an expert. I've got over 10,000 hours of conversations.
Right.
Use the stress ball and call me when you're having that moment of self-doubt.
I love
That's really powerful for building your credibility, but also having that conversation that they're going to consider canceling.
Yeah, but if you're keeping it real, right? Like, there are going to be bumps in the roads. Like I said, I'm not selling butterflies and rainbows, but I'm selling you a home. And the biggest thing is like the psychology of the sale too, which is why we like listings at $499, $999, not $500, right? Like when we go to the store, we're getting $9.99. It's like, it was $10, deal. But the psychology of the sale is like knowing who you're talking to, adapting to their personality. Like you're going to have different, there's no one size fits all. Is that no one size? Yeah. No one size fits all, right? Validate how they feel. I understand. I've had the same experience. Like if you have bought before or sold before, like implement yourself, implement examples. Either you've had it or other experiences that other agents have. Like talk to each other, validate it, and then give them their options, right? You're going to share.
I wanted to add something that has been working really good for me. When I get buyers in that same year, I'm sending them a Christmas ornament that I get on Etsy with a picture of their house, and they absolutely love it. Yeah,
it's personal.
And they're like, oh my God, they really think of you, and they absolutely love it. So that's one thing that I do, just for the first year, obviously. Yeah. But they really like that.
That's awesome. So that's a picture of their new home.
Yes.
Yeah.
On Etsy. Yeah, it's like maybe $30.
Yeah.
Then you just upload the picture and they love it.
Yeah, that's the thing, like template. You can template that, right? You find your Etsy person, like here's a picture, can you send it to this address? Done. You don't have to go searching. Like we've done it where like when we sell a home, we've done like an ornament, like as a keepsake. During COVID, I sent this one woman was doing a charity fundraiser, and it was a dumpster fire ornament, and it had the year on it, and I mailed it to a bunch of my clients. Like this year has been a total dumpster fire, but like, and it had the year on it, like just like as like a little keepsake. But like that's personal, and she doesn't have to like think about it. That's the biggest thing. But like, oh my gosh, how sweet. Does anybody else have something that's been working for them really well with their client experience? Yes.
I go on Amazon and order these terrific frames, and I have a stash of them in my home office. And when I'm on any social media and I see that someone's lost a furry family member, a pet, I print a copy of the picture and I put it in the frame. And the frame is made of ceramic. It's a really lovely, high-quality, heavy frame. And the top of it says, "Thanks for everything," and at the bottom it says, "I had a wonderful time." Aww. And then I package it up and I put it in a little gift bag and I just drop it off quietly at their front door. They will never forget you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, how deep and personal is that? And she templated it. She has a stockpile at home. Easy. If you see something that you like, that makes it relatable, that's worked for you, keep doing it. It was Dusty, actually, Dusty Oglesby. I don't know if you guys ever had seen him in training. He's amazing. I just went to him, and he was like, just because it's not working doesn't mean it's not working. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I know I haven't had a lot of coffee today, but how does that make sense? Because what you do now shows up in 3 to 6 months from now, okay? And so if you didn't do anything today, guess what? In 3 months to this date, you're not going to have a business, like a deal that day, right? So keep doing it. It will show up. The idea is to keep top of mind. Keep top of mind and make people think about you. Don't let them forget your name like they do most of other agents. And I think that's a wrap. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to shout. Anything you guys want to share, experience, like we're all here to learn. The best thing is collaboration, guys. Like we're all here for each other. This is a tough business. And if we can learn from each other, not have a scarcity mindset, like I'm giving you all my tips and trips, and I love that you shared about your personal experiences. Like, and anybody takes it, cool, take it, put your own spin on it. Yeah.
So, what do you do for your listing? So, like, say you get a referral, right? Somebody calls you. and says, hey, I want you to list my house. What is your next step? Like, do you have like Emily, I saw she has a really nice like hardcover book, and I love that. So what do you use?
Yeah. And this is a perfect example. Emily has a beautiful hardcover book. I have like a 4-page brochure that's printed out. It's cardstock. It's not paper. It's not stapled. It's like somewhat pretty. But I use that as like my bullet point. So it doesn't have a lot of information in it. It has like my features. Here's my street cred. Here's on the back of the page, like here's where you can look up testimonials, but here I'm going to walk you through what my listings look like. So like, are we talking staging and things like that? So one thing it does have in there is I have a tiered commission. I tell my clients, you are never going to pay for a service that you do not need. Again, it feels like they're in control of the situation. So if you don't need staging, I'm not going to charge you my 6% because you don't need staging. I'm going to charge you 5.5% or 5%. So like it lists out like those kinds of conversations, like what I do, like photography, video, how I'm marketing your home, and like I just have like reverse prospecting in there. So it's literally 4 pages or 8 pages, right? So it's 2 full pages folded, and that's it. And I used to do a presentation on my computer, and I had one of those like double screens, and I would flip it to the other side so they could see what I'm seeing. And it was always a talking point. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. What is that? I'm like, I know I'm so high tech. But I wasn't. Like, it was just like I could have like a follow along with them, and I would show them sometimes like I'm marketing to like who's going to buy this home, not to you. Right? Who's our target audience? So I just have that one leave behind. I never go empty-handed. My mom taught me never show up to somebody's house empty-handed. I always bring something to my listing appointments. And and guess what? It's templated. I always bring 2 tower bundt cakes from Nothing But Cake. And it has an orange ribbon on it. Everything is like very, like I always try and tie it back to the brand. So like a lot of times like people will they see something orange, they'll message me like, oh my gosh, look, you guys get this for your office. Or like, hey, did you see this is a level up gym? Like, you know, so we're trying to, the brand awareness, that's like another class. Brand awareness, brand association is super key to people remembering you as well.
That's really
I hope that answers your question. Okay, cool. You're welcome. Melissa, you were going to say.
I was just going to comment and say, having been on the receiving end of one of your very, very generous and kind drop-by gifts, she never forgets us as a vendor, which is so sweet. But I specifically need to point out, she dropped this amazing basket off at our office one day, and the hot item that people talked about for weeks, literally, and my children who are grown, was the poop emoji stress ball.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. That is so funny. I'd always say, like, here's the thing, guys. Like, you're only as strong as your partners, too, right? So they're an extension of your experience for your client. So the last thing that they do is sitting at that closing table. If at that closing table something gets messed up, what are they going to remember? Right? So like nobody wants to have that title company that's like, oh wait, no, this is wrong. Hold on. Like you owe more money, or like it's, you know, like there's so many things that can go wrong. So like partners is just another outlet for you to keep that communication, to show like what you're capable of and keep it in-house. Thank you guys so much. This means a lot to me for you guys showing up today.